Start with
Meyer. Sandy.
Present.
Schaefer.
Yes.
Scheit.
here.
Miller.
Next, we have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry, I thought I was about to sneeze there, so I don't want to start. Next, we have approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion about the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Next, we have item 5A, new business. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So attached is the event application for the Central Lakes Sport Karate season. This is a follow-up from our last meeting from Black Belts Don't Quit. They have provided an application for 3 events to be held on the Saturdays of July 6th, September 7th, and November 2nd. This was something the park board was supportive of. They just wanted to see some more details here. They are included here in the application. The applicant included a suggested venue of Gregory Park with considering the possibility of 150 participants plus families and support staff, spectators, vendors, and anybody else that would be involved in this. That was something that the staff did discuss with Black Belts Don't Quit. We did agree that Memorial Park would be a more accommodating venue for as many people would be there, especially from a parking standpoint. The parks maintenance staff, we would be able to assist with bringing some additional garbage cans to the area, as well as moving the bleachers from Field 3 to assist with spectators. Black Belts Don't Quit would provide some additional restrooms for the amount of people that would be there. Due to the location of the concession stands, we agreed that that may not be as conducive to the event. So they're going to be looking at contacting some area food vendors that could help provide for food for the event. And then other than that, I think they just indicated that they're looking at potentially renting a tent or a canopy to help also cover the event, at least in the area of the ice rink where the event will be held as well. So a lot of different pieces that go along with that, but our staff will work really closely with them to ensure that the events do go off without a hitch. Other than that, if there's any questions from the park board, we can help answer those.
I don't have anything.
Oh, cool. Anything, Garrett?
Yeah. Just curious about where you were thinking for the vendor space then. Will it be in that pavilion, like up by the pavilion, since it was the fountain at the other park?
So we discussed a couple different spots. We discussed kind of the smaller ice rink as one spot. One spot that they liked was the outfield of the softball fields. I think it was field 1. The one that was used for the Great Pumpkin Festival this last year. That space kind of accommodated pretty well for the event last time. The only thing we would want to make sure that works really well would be for people flow, because there's not a ton of access through the outfield fences. So as long as that works out really well, I think we can make either one work. I think the only thing I mentioned to them is as long as there's not, stakes and stuff like that going through for irrigation. But other than that, I think either one would work really well for that kind of activity.
Okay. And then just the other thing would just be making sure like no driving in the park. So like food trucks would be like on the roads or in the parking lot or something like that. But
And that was the other nice thing about the Memorial Park areas with the vicinity next to the pavilion. That would provide a really nice accessible area for a food vendor that could be really close to the event itself to accommodate.
cool, thank you.
Yeah, the cards was my only thing. But I think for Last Dance this summer, Katie had a nice setup. Kind of part of the parking lot was for food trucks and vendors, and that was an awesome setup. So, yeah, I think it'll be good.
We need a motion then to approve this.
Please.
Yes, I think that would be good.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the special event application from Black Belts Don't Quit.
Second.
Any discussion about the motion?
Do we need anything about conditions, insurance, or anything?
I don't think so. We're not really closing any public rights of way, so I don't think we'll need necessarily a certificate of insurance on this.
All right, no other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved.
So much. We're going to have so much fun.
It's gonna be cool.
Are you good to work?
Yeah, thank you.
Next, we have item 5B, bids for the ARPA projects.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So we did receive 4 bids for the parks ARPA projects. As a quick reminder, these 3 were the J.C.'s Park improvements, the Lum Park Beach expansion, and the campground expansion. We did have a total of $575,000 that was allocated to all 4 parks, which included Kiwanis. Removing that, as well as the design contract for Widseth, we had a roughly $505,000 left in the budget. The low bid that we did receive was from DeChantel Excavating for just under $443,000. This is quite a bit lower than the original estimate. One thing that we changed kind of during the bidding process, there's concern for the availability of Class 2 gravel, which was in the original bidding package. We felt that Class 5 gravel was going to be sufficient for what we're trying to do here with the surfacing gravel, so we made that adjustment during the bidding process, which we feel contributed to some of those savings that we saw through the bid. One consideration that we'll need to make sure is included in as we talk about budget is the existing electrical service cabinet for the campground will not be able to accommodate the expansion of the new sites. So we'll need to for sure have some funding set aside to accommodate that work. I don't know what those dollar amounts will need to be yet. What we'll do is we'll set up a meeting with the contractor's electrician as well as BPU staff. We'll go out to the site, we'll discuss, kind of scope out what that work is going to be, lay it out, and then we'll have a much better feel for what that amount of money that we need to set aside for that work is going to be. With that said, I'm highly anticipating that with the difference between the 443,000 and the 505, we should be able to accommodate a bit more work than what's included here in the scope right now. So if you're amenable to it, we can work with the awarded contractor to include some additional amenities to the project up to including the budgeted amount. As a reminder, this is ARPA dollars. Well, we can't bank these dollars at the end. They have to be expended by the end of this year of the COVID money. Some things that we can do, enhance some of the electrical work at the campground. One thing that I heard from some of the electricians was whether or not to use 2 breakers versus 3 service breakers for the campgrounds. Code requires 2, but if you were to load all of the RVs all at once on those sites, it could potentially blow it. So if you have 3 different breakers, that resolves that issue, but it comes at an additional cost. So that might be one additional piece. Upgrading the canopies down at the beach, you could make them larger. That could be a potential upgrade. Adding some new sidewalk replacement going from the parking lot up to Pavilion 1 at Lum Park. That could be an additional upgrade that we don't have in the current contract. So there's some room to add some different additional amenities that aren't currently in the contract that we could use once we know how much that electrical work for BPU is going to cost to make sure we expend that total budget. But we are recommending the award to DeChantel Excavating as the low bidder.
Questions for Jesse?
So then I'm assuming, Jesse, over the next few weeks, once contract's awarded, you could figure out the pricing for the electrical service work with the couple different options with the 2 breakers and 3 breakers and see what's kind of left over in our budget, and then figure out some budget numbers for these other amenities that you have detailed in your report?
We'll try and do that. I don't know if we'll be able to get it by the next meeting, but we'll see what we can do. I know talking with Al at our weekly construction meeting, he does want to get started on one of the projects. JC's in particular maybe around June.
Okay.
If he's awarded the contract, that's kind of the lull that he has in between phases on the South Brainerd reconstruction project. At the same time, he would want to order materials and get that stuff kind of in the hopper. So he would want to, I don't want to say expedite contracts and a pre-con relatively shortly. So I think we would, after having that discussion, start working on pricing that out with BPU. So I don't know if we would have time to get it in the next packet, but we would sure try.
Okay.
So how will these, so you're saying June would be the first time that, like, when they would start the JC's park?
Potentially.
Okay.
That is his indication right now.
Okay, so then as far as like doing the beach and the campground, then how is that going to affect like beach use and campground reservations? And because it's going to be like competing for that time when people would be using it.
So the campground, it's separate because obviously this isn't in the existing campground area with the exception of one of the stalls that we're losing that this is going to replace. Now, obviously the noise will be a concern, but it'll be from what they're doing out here, it's going to be pretty short. It's not a very large scope of work, so it won't take very long to get the work done. The beach will be a little bit more intricate. So that one will be a little bit longer of a disturbance. I'm not sure on the timing of when he would be getting to that work. I think that would be later. From what he indicated, and he hasn't really put together a ton of work into his schedule yet, but I believe he was indicating that he would want to do JCs, and he was thinking a week or two, probably 2 weeks worth of work into JCs, progress to the campground, and then to the beach. That might mean the beach is somewhere maybe around August. Depends on how South Brainerd is going at the same time, because he's obviously working on that project as well. So from a timing perspective, it's really tough for me to say exactly how all that is going to time out. But that was just his initial indication in our discussion this morning.
And he does know that we do have a time limit on spending the money, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Cool. Exciting.
Is there a timeline as part of this bid? Like it has to be done this year, or is the clock on the money just kind of our lever here in that case?
This money has to be expended by the end of this year. I believe the contract, I can't remember the exact date, but I believe it was November of this year was the contract end date.
Cool. I think the only other thing I can think of it might be interesting to look at doing would be, if we're already touching the electrical at Lum, some EV charging of some kind. To get more folks into the park or maybe stopping by to charge their car for an hour and they go to the beach.
I can do some digging into that on what the pricing would be. I'm not sure what the service drop would be there. I'm not sure what the feed coming into the park would be. I do know they take quite a bit of power to service those, and I'm not sure the service coming to the park would be sufficient, but we'll do some digging into that if that's something that's an available option.
Cool, thank you. Mm-hmm. Any other questions for Jesse? Looking for a motion.
I can make a motion to award the Brainerd ARPA Park projects to DeChantel Excavating in the amount of $442,963.32, and ask staff to work on pricing for additional amenities to be presented at a future park board meeting to expend the additional funds.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved. Next one is JC's demo. Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. We received a quote from Treader Excavating for the demo for the pavilion and playground equipment in the north end of JC's Park. As a reminder, this is in the capital plan for 2024. The budget amount was $5,000. The quote we received was for $4,900. This does include the removals and grading. For some cost savings, staff offered to do the topsoil and reseeding for the restoration. Staff is recommending approval of the quote from Treader.
Dave.
Yeah, so on this item here, I was asked by members of the JCs if we would potentially be willing to hold off on that so that they can take a look at that pavilion. Playground is what the playground is. However, the pavilion itself, they have a few members of their organization they think might be interested in taking a look at it. However, they haven't had the full discussion on that. And so they asked if maybe we'd be willing to hold off on the removal of the pavilion so that they could take a look at what that might potentially look like on their end if there's potential to rehab it.
Jesse.
Mr. Vice Chair, if you want to look at the quote, you can see he did break that out. So if you'd like to remove the building, it looks like Shredder would be able to accommodate just doing the playground section. I believe the mobilization would still apply in this instance, so you could probably look at this and remove the 2,600. So we'd be looking at roughly 2,300 to still continue with the playground demolition portion of the work.
So the JC's, Dave, is looking at potentially rehabbing that structure?
I wouldn't say that they are looking at it. I would say that a few of the members had noticed that and said, would you be willing to let us take a gander at it? It's a big organization. Issue that they have is that it's kind of compartmentalized, as you know, Kara. There are people that are involved in certain things, and then there are people that are involved in kind of the bigger thing. So they just wanted to know if we'd be willing to just give them a minute to mobilize and converse and see if it's something that anybody's even interested in. So no official discussions, just the opportunity.
All right, well, then I'm prepared to make a motion to approve the quote from Treader Trucking and Excavating in the amount of $2,300, which would be the removal of the building demo as noted on the quote. Removing of the demo from the quote. Sorry. I realized that was kind of confusing.
Yep, got it. Okay, I'll second that. But one thing, I guess, discussion.
Discussion, yeah.
Okay, would just be Dave, being that I was a JC, just like maybe we need to give them a time chunk, just knowing how busy people get. So maybe we say they have, I don't know what's fair, 90 days, is that too long?
I mean,
I
are we
don't
not-
know, are we talking 30 days?
90
Yeah.
days probably puts you at the end of the summer, which is probably realistic. That would still give us time to get it removed, correct?
Could Al potentially demo that as a part of his project?
I
right.
didn't ask him for a price for it. I'm sure he would be willing to
He's got
accommodate it
equipment
if
out
he
there
has
just
time.
So we don't have to pay mobilization again?
Yeah. So and Treader didn't indicate like he's under a huge time crunch either for this work. So if this is something that you wanted to table for a month or two to give them time, I'm sure either one of the contractors would be able to accommodate if we needed to come back to that.
So maybe we just rescind motion and table until such time?
Table the whole project?
Yeah. Would you recommend that, Jesse, or do you want to move forward with the playground? I'm just worried about the mobilization charges if we have them come in twice.
Yeah, if you want to hold off on the entire project, that's more than fine. It's a 2024 capital item. We can back the whole thing up.
We give them till our June meeting? It's like 6 or 8 weeks? Is that, or Kara, do you think that they need more time? July
Yeah,
meeting?
I would say they need a couple months at least, just because they'll talk about it at their meeting, and then they'll maybe go out and think about it or do some stuff and come back, so.
Maybe give them till the July meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, we don't meet till the end of July, which is about when they meet, I think. I think they meet bi-weekly.
yeah.
I think they do, bi-weekly. I don't need to get into the logistics of the JCs.
Right. And it's not a safety concern, obviously, to keep
I don't think
the
so.
playground or the gazebo up
Correct.
at this time, like any longer. I mean, it's okay to keep it up.
Correct.
Okay.
I will rescind my motion.
I'll second, do I second that?
Can't
Take
hurt.
back my second, too. Wipe it clean.
I'll make a motion to table this until the July meeting.
I'll second that.
And then Jesse, can you or staff reach out to the JCs to let them know the timeline? Or Dave, maybe.
Either way.
Somebody, cool.
Yeah, I can reach out to them.
We'll
I'll
make
just-
Dave do it.
I'll just respond back to those that have inquired.
Excellent. Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That is approved. And then last one, informational, Jesse.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. So I did get some information from the Ski Loons as well as the Rice Lake Association regarding the preseason meeting date and time, as well as the tentative dates for 2024 show dates. Those are included in the packet. Just for your reference, in case the park board members wanted to attend the preseason meeting that'll be held at the American Legion Post on Front Street on this upcoming Thursday at 5:30. Just in case any of you wanted to attend, if any more than 2 wanted to attend, we would obviously want to notice that as a meeting of the park board. As far as I understand, there hasn't been an indication that there would be any more than 2 members planning to attend. But it would just, if you intend to attend that meeting, let me know, please.
I do not plan on attending.
I think somebody should be there, so it's probably just me though, because John said he can't go. So even if Troy's there, it's just 2.
I cannot attend. I will be, Tuesdays and Thursdays are baseball.
Cool. All right. So don't think we have to adjourn there. So we'd just be looking for a motion to adjourn to get Paul back to work.
So moved.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Post same sign. We're adjourned.
Right on time.